Welcome back to Next Stage Podcast, everyone. We got Jonathan Chapman in the studio today. My man has been a staple of the local music scene. I'm pretty sure every open mic I've ever played was because you had an involvement in it in some way or another. One of our favorite local artists. You've been on the cast before. If people want to check that out, get the origin story. That's up on our website. But we're here today. First time coming in here into the new studio, playing some tunes after quarantine.
Beautiful.
How do you feel, man?
Well, you're making me feel amazing right now. I feel great.
You should.
Can you hit that one more time?
Can you hit it one more time? Actually, you can do that.
Do I hold it by the yellow part?
It's up to you, man. It's your world.
I feel like I just balanced both of our chakras.
And we're in.
All right, let's go.
So how's it been? How's the quarantine thing been for you in terms of being a working musician? You've been one of the staple working musicians around here. A lot of paying gigs, a lot of different bands, projects. Like, what has that done to you?
Well, I mean, it all stopped. It was, I had a lot of gigs, had a lot of work. I had music coming out, music that came out, but I have no real way to promote it face to face with people. And social media, I'm not a wizard of social media at all. And so anyway, I had all this new stuff that I wanted to play, new stuff that I wanted to put out there and promote, and it all went away. The whole thing came to a screeching halt, and man, we're all living this in the same world. So
so you think like that personal contact when you can actually like speak to somebody and they get interested, here's my demo, here's my album, like that is the part that's most essential to getting the word out?
Yeah, well, it's okay. So I mean, it's bringing the music directly to the people, I feel, is, it's old school. It's the way it's been done for a long time, and it works. And so I try to always do that. You can put out songs online all day long and make $47 a year from putting out your music on the internet. But if you burn, a few CDs and bring them to your show and sell them for $10 a pop, you'll make more money in a night selling a thumb drive or a CD to people at a show than you will off that music on a streaming platform, unless you're super famous already. But if you're a struggling artist, you need to play gigs.
Why?
If it's all you do, that because you need to be able to sell your merch, and you need to be able to, hopefully you're getting paid for the gigs you're playing.
Right.
And it's just to sustain your efforts, whether you're playing music to make your full income and pay all your bills, or whether it's a part-time thing, or whether you live in your car and you drive around the country and you sleep on the beach and you have a low overhead. Either way, whatever it is, you need the gigs to sustain your lifestyle, whether you're a famous person or whether you're a beach bum. And
so we lost a lot of options, you mean?
Well, it's a huge monetary loss. Gigs, because not only is it the gig that you might get paid for, but you sell merch at your gigs. Think about all the young punk bands that do tours all over the country. They're playing $5 at the door shows, split between fucking 7 bands, and like they only make money if they sell merch.
Right.
And you need the show to sell the merch. So across the board, I think the lack of being able to perform is hurting a lot of musicians right now.
So in the early stage, when the band is like at that like kind of scraping by, seeing, do people care? Can I make it? Can we do our dream? You need that like tidal pool of these venues smaller venues, especially, right? I would imagine you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you need that like breeding ground of security to like I can go gig to gig
and house
get
shows.
enough gas for my van or whatever I'm doing, and then it's gonna sustain this dream a little bit further. And we lost that.
That's like the second phase of the dream. It's the first thing that happens is you get a group of people together, and you write songs and you play songs. After that, you go on the road or you play your local dives and your local haunts and little music venues or whatever. But then you take it on the road and you play, Goobies in Nebraska and Mr. Thirsties in Wichita, whatever they are.
Sounds like a cool place.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Actually, I think it was called Kirby's in Wichita. This place that I played, it was excellent. They took amazing care of us, but it was a little punk club. You can only fit 40 or 50 people in the place, and it was a tip jar gig. I was playing with Kyle Tricola and the Strangers.
Okay.
And
Kyle's been on here.
Yeah,
good dude. Love his music.
Best dude ever.
Got to get him on again.
I hope so. And this new space.
Yeah,
this
man.
Wonderful new space. But anyway, so touring with Kyle, I did a I think 15 day tour, and I think in those 15 days, I think we played 15, maybe 16 shows.
Okay,
and,
really doing it.
We went all over the country, and I saw a lot of little venues where the bands only made money if they sold merch. House shows where they only made money if they sold merch. If you didn't sell merch, you got paid in spaghetti. Like it's not. These are not gigs.
Yeah, that's tax free though.
Tax free spaghetti, baby. Like that's what you were doing. And so yeah, there's none of that. There's none of that during a global lockdown. You know. But the main thing is that everybody do the right thing and take care of each other and try to be safe so we can move on and get back to where we can have that again.
Yeah, we absolutely have to. And I think it's very necessary. A lot of people complied with it more than I expected. So like we did a lot of that really, hard work in terms of making that effort to isolate and do all that. But it did open the other door for like streaming music and what we did with the quarantine jams and like people sharing videos of them playing. And I've had this thought, I'm sure I've said it before, but like that should have maybe been part of the platform earlier than it was forced to be, because getting the music out to more people, like this sort of forced us to do that, to where people all around the country and the world are now watching these videos of a live performance. Like,
It's like we're finally using the internet for like what we should have been using it for.
Yeah.
It's been
a long time coming. It's not a surprise.
Everybody was. And the people that were really sharp were definitely, doing cool stuff. But it's like it took us all being stuck at our homes to be like, oh man, I wrote a good song. Like I'm gonna use my super fancy smartphone to record myself playing a song, and everybody's comfortable doing that right now because it's all you can do. And
it kind of levels the playing field, because if even the most famous bands and acts can't go out on tour,
you're judging the material just on its own
merit. Yeah. So it kind of like is this great equalizer in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's you see who doesn't need a lot,
Right.
There are musicians out there that all they need is just their phone or a cheap camera or their laptop, that they've had for 15 years. There are artists out there that just write great stuff, and it's coming across.
What do you think makes a great song? Great song through and through. Like, what do you think that is?
Not too much. Not too much effort. When I hear it, I want it to sound like it, just like it naturally appeared. Like it just happened. Like it was a small force of nature. I don't want to hear a song that sounds too labored.
So you mean like it can stand alone with minimal accompaniment?
And just like that the lyrics seem natural, like not forced. Like
When somebody gets too verbose, it freaks me out. I'm like, this sounds like you're trying too hard here.
You're listening to some song and you hear a line and it's just like, oh man, you can like picture the person and sitting in their apartment or whatever, and like, what's the line for this part? And it's like,
so too self-conscious, you mean? Like where they're trying too hard to put something
natural.
Across?
Yeah, a natural and a lack of fear, Have you listened to much Woody Guthrie?
Here and there. I can't say I'm very versed in his material. I can say that I've heard some of it, but I won't pretend that I know more than I do.
Well, so many of his songs had pretty much like the same chords, like, I mean, not all of them. The man wrote over 1,000 songs, I think, or might have even published over 1,000 songs. He might have written many more than that.
Right. Other people might have played them or something.
Or just wrote them and never did anything with them.
Yeah.
Well, I think he published over 1,000 songs. I could be mistaken. But anyway, there are certain songs that, like, even if like they sound a lot, the words were so good and his confidence was right there, and made the songs great.
So the arrangement becomes secondary to the words and the melody.
The complexity of the song is definitely secondary to what the song means.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you think, like, in this time where we're getting that, as you said, like that forced having to put things out online where we don't have, record releases and all this stuff and bands can't get together, like, does that help to weed out some of the more solid songs because it's one person in their home doing it that way?
Doesn't weed them out, it fertilizes them.
Okay, maybe I flipped the script.
Yeah. It brings them.
Weeds out the weaker songs.
Yeah,
how's that?
Yeah. It separates some of the weaker artists. I don't know. This is something that will probably be analyzed a lot in the months and maybe years to come. But
I'm sure decades to come. We don't even know how World War II started. Like, come on. We're gonna figure this out.
But it is cool to see, like, I don't know if did you watch that last John Prine song?
No, I didn't.
Of him.
Big loss, man. I'm a huge fan.
Huge loss. Really, really important guy to me, and I'm a huge fan. And but anyway, a few days ago, or maybe a week ago, they did a tribute to him online. I can't, YouTube or something. Yeah. But anyway, they showed the last song that he wrote and documented, and it's just him with two mics, one like that, and like what we did.
Yeah, like what you did here.
Like what we did here.
Okay, two mics.
And just two mics and him, and he's sitting in a low chair and
causing all kinds of earthquakes. All right, man. It's all good.
Anyhow, he's chilling out in his house, it looks like, or somewhere that he's used to being.
Yeah.
And he's sitting in a chair. And he's got these two mics, and he's singing this freaking beautiful song. And just honest. And there's no fancy production, no fancy effects or nothing. And so, like, so what we're talking about here, that is happening, man. The live streaming of people's art. I think a lot of great independent songwriters and solo acts are standing out right now because
it's cutting some of the affectation out.
A song's good on its own legs, it can be poorly recorded and still be awesome. That brings me right back to Woody Guthrie. Like, you listen to those old recordings of Woody Guthrie, Lead Belly.
I love those old prison recordings that they have. You can find on like NPR.
All the Lomax stuff.
They're like field recordings, I suppose you'd call them.
There's
putting a microphone and people in the field like singing how they sing, or some old lady's back porch or whatever, and you're getting this very unfiltered taste of the environment.
Well, it's the oral history of America.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's actually something that should be taught in elementary school.
I agree.
They, at least when we were little kids, we did learn certain songs. We learned "This Land Is Your Land," and we learned certain things that are part of our
canon of experience.
The American folk heritage. We did learn a little bit of that, but I think that there is very little focus on that these days, and that's really important stuff. Like we should know about the roots music and the blues and
why is that important? What do you think that is reflecting to the next generation?
You gotta know what happened before you were around. What, are we so egotistical that like that only the time that we're on the planet is important? Like we can't raise children to think that.
So there's a wisdom in that you would lose.
You gotta know your history, man. You gotta know, at least you just gotta know a little bit of the history of where you of your existence, of the country you live in, the area you live in, the people that were around before you, all the great things they did. Like this should be essential in the early education.
So music has a way of like preserving a very strong essence of that, I believe. Because you can hear a song and get more than you would, at least for me, than like reading a bunch of books or something. When you hear a song of somebody in the time,
Who wants to read a bunch of books?
Right.
Yeah, no.
Especially now.
When I was 13 years old, man, I didn't want to read a bunch of books. But I totally wanted to put my headphones on and listen to all rock and roll music and whatever I was diving into. And I was lucky enough that the people that I thought were the coolest people in the world, that were older than me, were into cool stuff. You had
a little bit of like a brotherhood of leading you into that. You mean like you kind of got a little
my dad
indoctrination, so to speak.
Yeah, my dad is a musician. My older brother played music and liked good music, and my cousins and the people around me.
Yeah.
And so I dug in, but
yeah. So you got some new stuff coming out now, right? I mean, there were some whisperings about it on some of your Quarantine Jams performances. You said you got some new recordings coming out. Are those like available soon, in the works? Like, where's that at?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, if I have a couple shows. I got a show on the 20th at Reading Roadhouse, and I was hoping that I'd have new CDs available to sell at that show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to afford to get it done in time, but I'm hoping for the 26th at Woodbury Brewing Company that I'll have some new stuff, at least a small batch of new stuff pressed out, ready to sell. But yeah, I have, during this whole quarantine, I've been writing songs like a crazy man. And
like a sane man, maybe in some
man
circles.
I just can't stop. I'm just well, now I'm working again. I gotta make that money,
gotta make the scratch,
gotta keep Lauren Miller happy.
Hell
gotta
yeah.
make that money. So so anyway, so I haven't been, but for the first couple months of this whole lockdown, I was writing like crazy, just constant, and it was effortless. It was happening. Like I said, so I don't want to hear. I don't like a song that sounds like too labored. I like a song that sounds like it happened
flowing. It's like
easily.
Someone just cleared the dam a little bit, and then this thing's coming out.
Like you just were lucky enough it was floating by you, and your mind was open, and you got it. You caught it like you're fishing, like however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
You caught the best.
Caught a vibe in the air.
And you caught that little joker and you reeled him in, and now he's yours. And
So that's the spirit of this new recording, because you sent me some songs and it was very much like you and guitar, maybe a little bits here and there, but it was pretty much a straightforward presentation of the songs. Were those just takes, or is that like how it's going to be for this?
Not too far from that. I think these songs are going to be, stripped down, honest, simple.
I liked it, by the way. I
Thanks.
Very much liked it.
Thanks.
I just wanted to ask your interpretation of what you had put forth.
Yeah, I think there's some of the stuff that I've written during the quarantine has been a little John Prine influenced, maybe. It was weird how, like, when it all went down, my girlfriend and I had just gotten back from a trip to Los Angeles. We got home, and like a day later, everything shut down, or a couple days later, everything shut down, and we were just stuck at home. And I was like, well, what are we gonna do? So we busted out the records. We started digging through the record collection, just playing vinyls, and John Prine's first album was
Sam Stone is on that one.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
Dig that song a lot.
And so we were listening to that a lot, and I even posted about it on Facebook. I was like, oh man, John Prine's good for your soul. If you're locked in your house, listen to this, it'll make you feel better, blah blah blah. And then a few days later he got sick, and then a few days after that they were like, oh, he's okay, and then a day later he's dead. And so I was really digging into his catalog of incredibly amazing music. And then I think it might have inspired me a little bit, and I started writing a lot of music, and some of the stuff that I wrote I think is pretty inspired by John Prine.
Well, that's important, that when a situation and also an artist that's relevant to you at the time is influencing like what you're going to put out, like that's extremely important when you have like tangible landmarks in the human history that is now inspiring your music. Like that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
why
we're talking
these
about
old
folk music.
Yeah, why folk
music's
music's important.
And we're talking about, and there's nothing more honest than John Prine. And it's like, so yeah, I feel like, everything's shut down. I dug into my records. We lost a great American songwriter, which made me focus on the art of writing a great song and listening to
maybe
him,
fill some of that void.
And and it's obviously it's not a thing that you do consciously. It's just a thing. You just
inspiration. Yeah,
you got inspired and you do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, a lot of the songs that I wrote, I think, came from just that kind of mojo. Like, just like, this is how I'm feeling. Let's get some honest tunes out, and everybody too. I'm noticing it across the board. A lot of great singer songwriters are just spitting out tunes right now.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the pressures that are around, like pressure makes creativity in a lot of ways. I feel like creativity does best with confines. As counterintuitive as that sounds, you think creativity should be free, but sometimes you put some blinders on it and suddenly it gets focused on something very pure, and you get rid of some of the distractions that can be there.
Kill some of those distractions.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
What are you looking forward to about like coming back to performing? You got these shows coming up soon. Like, what are you excited about coming out of this unfortunate darkness that we've had to go through?
I'm just excited to play music in front of people again. Right now, it's just outside, low numbers, not big groups. We'll see what happens in a few weeks or months, and but yeah, I mean, when you play shows, whether restaurant gigs or whatever, when you play all the time, a couple times a week for so long, and then all of a sudden you can't.
Yeah,
it's weird. You feel weird.
It's a very necessary emotional fix. I feel like I love that feeling of being able to just let go and perform. Like there's something you can't get by practicing. You can't get that in your bedroom or playing for a handful of friends. It's just not the same as when you're risking it live.
And it's a job I love. Like it's the job I want to do. Like I want to I want to, for in a perfect world, 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week, I'd like to be performing in front of an audience. That's the job I want to do. And so yeah, not being able to do that, I'm very excited to start doing it again. Like it's the bee's knees, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait. And I think right now, you get whatever gigs you can get. You sell some merch, throw out a tip jar, maybe put out a sign with your PayPal and Venmo and all that kind of stuff. And we're gonna explore this new territory together. The audience and the performers.
So keeping an open mind.
Yeah, like maybe this is a great thing. Maybe this is a great thing for us. Maybe now
I think it will be overall. I think it'll break down some barriers that were there before that shouldn't have been there.
Maybe now we play gigs at bars and clubs and little venues and whatever, and maybe we also play gigs here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's who knows? Like it could be a whole nother. It's definitely going to be a whole nother chapter of music and expression and all that kind of stuff, and we're here.
Yeah, I think it'll break down some of the trendiness, because like if something's just a trend in the American markets, that shouldn't be what dictates what's the tastes of the world. And maybe music that people are playing in Danbury, Connecticut would be very interesting to a lot of people around the world. We just didn't really think about that as much in the past. We thought about, you got to play your local club, and if you don't do well there, then you're
just trying to play our spots and have fun with our friends. Really, it's not. We've never really put much focus on I think on the global reach that we have as artists. We're in a small city. We don't live in like a popular place where lots of great stuff is happening.
Come on, man. Gaylord's not popular? Who are you talking to lately? Captain Gaylord would disagree with you.
But even Danbury, man, it's like nobody cares about Danbury, Connecticut. Like it's
not yet.
Well, yeah. I mean, I care. Mayor Mountain cares.
I think there's a lot of people who are passionate about the music and the music scene around here that it'd be great to expose that more and get it out there. And like you coming here and doing this has really put a big.
By the way, that
effort
was in no way an official endorsement of Mayor Mountain.
We're not political. Politics don't exist.
I'm just making
podcast.
a silly
Don't
comment.
worry.
That's all. He's a goofy ass motherfucker. Oh, sorry. Shit.
Edit that in post.
Yeah, cut that part out.
Nah, we're not cutting anything. This is all honest. It's all true. But seriously, like that, you've got gigs coming up now. Got some new recordings coming out. Like this is amazing that through the whole quarantine period, you're coming out the other side with like kind of fresh wheels, as I would think of it, and like that's really inspiring and good stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, it's happened, and I think a lot of people are experiencing that same thing. I was texting back and forth with Dave Sabitsky, the saxophone player that I play with a lot, and he's like, he mentioned how he was really happy he hasn't been playing gigs, like he's enjoying spending time with his family and all that,
some time to reevaluate in ways.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys are still teaching online. They're teaching their lessons and stuff. That's fun.
Good.
Because I think a lot of people don't realize that there's a whole demographic of musicians that exist that make their living, support themselves and their families, that like you'll never hear of them. You'll never know their name. They're teachers and they play in local bands, or they're sidemen, or they're session guys, and it's like,
not to mention all the supporting people who do lighting, staging, grip work, all that stuff that goes into making the show happen. There's other people besides just the musicians that are involved. So hopefully that all kicks back up and these people can have their careers resume again,
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, I didn't get any unemployment, man. I played, all I did was play music and drive around and be a weirdo for a couple of years. So I didn't really have much of a employment record for a couple years, I wasn't, I I was just kind of being a free spirit. So
that inspires the music as well. So like it's kind of necessary in ways, you know?
Yeah.
And so hopefully coming out of this thing when everything kicks back up, like
you know what happened? So, everything shut down, and I was lucky enough to have a little cooking job.
Yeah.
And so I just started doing that all the time, or full time.
Right.
And, that builds character. That writes songs.
Absolutely,
you're working, you're meeting, you're bonding with your coworkers, you're working long hours, you're doing your thing. It builds character. The thing that you love, you can't do. So it's like, you're longing for your lost lover, but you're keeping on.
And that's again the constraints that when are put on creativity. When that happens, it sort of like focuses it sometimes.
Yeah, good songs come out of that.
Yeah, out of hardship and struggle.
Yeah,
and the things that make those songs resonate from the past to the present. And I think you do that a lot in your music. So I'm very much looking forward to this new stuff coming out, new shows going on, and where can people find your music when you're going to be putting it out?
Where can they?
Yeah, is it going to be like released on the streaming platforms? Are you going to do like an email basis? Are you going to do like how are people going to be able to get these new tunes that you're going to be putting out soon?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot. More to follow. We can update.
I mean, I have stuff that. So that's the thing. So like, I just put out a song. Some of the more experimental kind of stuff that I do has been coming out. Some of the stuff that I've been. Some of the music I've been working on with some rappers and a great producer named Rich Gaines, and maybe the best living rapper, Freddie Gibbs, and another rapper named Khan. Just amazing lyricist. I put out some of this stuff over the past couple months, but it's just out there, Yeah. It's like, this is all work that I do with my buddy Rich. We work really hard. We've been working at this music since we were little kids, since we were like 13 years old. And like this stuff is coming out and people are hearing it and it's awesome, but I don't know what to do. That's kind of how we started this conversation.
Yeah.
It's like I'm putting out music but I don't know. I can't do anything about it. It's out.
It's there.
It's out. I can talk about it with you. So, by the way, I should be talking about this. So, I put out a song called Permanent Record with Rich Gaines and Freddie Gibbs. It's a very cool song outside of what people are used to hearing from me. And then I put out another song called Morocco with a guy named Khan. Check those tunes out on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to music.
So those are on the streaming platforms right now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That stuff's
and there's
out
more to come from Jonathan Chapman. So it's like I'm glad to hear you're doing gigs. You got some stuff coming out. Like coming out of the quarantine with a little bit of a silver lining, as hard as it is, but you're coming out of it with some things on the radar, which is great. And is there any like words of inspiration you want to give to people? Like, what kind of like chips have you been eating during quarantine? Do you like potato chips, corn chips, microchips, paint chips?
Cape Cod salt and vinegar.
There we go. Salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah, salt and vinegar Cape Cod. We've been doing a lot of Butter Lovers microwavable popcorn.
Good stuff. I want to get an air popper soon.
Terrible for you, but we've been eating that. We've been eating that popcorn, and.
So what kind of, if you were to give any words,
making brownies, blueberry bread, banana bread. Sorry, I keep hitting the table. I'm sure when I hit the table, it makes the mics.
No, it's all good, bro. You're cool. You want to dig us out? We got to get your words of wisdom before we.
Words of wisdom, man.
Coming out of this quarantine period, being a musician who cares about the legacy of songwriters coming through to the new generation. You've been inspired by John Prine. You're doing that now with your new releases. I like that they're very stripped down. It's very intimate, personal, and that gives that vibe. So like going forward from this period, like what do you think musicians should be looking forward to?
I think we should be paying attention.
Yeah.
I think we should be paying attention to what's going on around us, and it's we are here to see the next phase of whatever happens, you know. Things will most likely get back to some version of normal, but I don't think they'll ever be
a new normal
exactly the same as we figured it would be forever. You know, we got way too comfortable. But I think we should just be lucky that we're here to see this sea change and like pay attention to it. If we pay attention to everything that's changing right now and write about it, express ourselves, try not to have too much fear. You know, little fear might help, but you know, don't be so afraid that you don't put yourself out there. And I think as artists, I think something amazing is about to happen.
I agree.
It might leave us, you know, begging in an alleyway somewhere, or it might leave us super rich and, you know.
We're on the cusp of something.
Whatever it is,
yeah.
It's something is happening right now, and we just need to pay attention. And if we're artists and if we're songwriters, we got to write songs about it. If we're painters, we got to paint about it. You know, I'm such an idiot.
No,
but you know what I'm saying?
Man. Dude, that's beautiful. You got to chime us out on that. Like, you put your wisdom there. Like, that carries it all through, wraps it all up in a nice little bow. Like, thank you so much for coming on here, for playing some songs, for talking about your experience, the new stuff coming up. Like, I don't know, man. This has been awesome.
I'll chime us out.
Yeah.
I'll chime us out.
You deserved it. You've earned it.
Love in your heart, guys.
Love y'all.
Walk with love and light, and do right by everyone, man. Let's see this thing through.
Yes, sir. And we're done.
Nice. Excellent.